Time now for the business news. Delano D'Souza is with us in studio. Delano, a very good day to you.
Morning.
You're going to start with this three-day conference in Egypt.
That's right, Eve. Over 2,000 business leaders and officials are expected to attend, including the U.S. Secretary of State and IMF Chief Christine Lagarde. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi hopes to kickstart a new spurt of growth and attract international investment. The Arab Spring and the instability in the region has drastically reduced levels of foreign direct investment. But there's one sector that's bucking the trend, and that's telecoms. The French operator Orange is increasing its stake in Egypt's number 2 mobile and internet provider Mobinil. The deal, valued at 210 million euros, will give it a 99% stake. This report now from our correspondent in Cairo, Sonia Dridi and Kate Moody.
One of Egypt's telecoms leaders, soon to be 99% French. Orange is taking almost full control of Mobinil, hoping to tap into a market ripe for competition. Mobinil counts some 34 million clients of Egypt's population of 90 million, but has been struggling to turn a profit. Its chief executive hopes the Franco-Egyptian partnership means a better future is on the horizon.
The Egyptian people are this country's strong point. For our industry, that means we have access to a highly qualified local workforce. We employ nearly 7,000 people, directly or indirectly.
Investing in Egypt doesn't come without risks, though. Mobinil and rival Vodafone have recently been the target of attacks. There were no casualties, but it's put some international corporations on edge.
Today's fast-moving,
The Egyptian government will be trying to downplay security concerns at the Sharm el-Sheikh conference, focusing instead on more than 50 business proposals to boost economic activity.
The projects that are being offered will create a sustainable base to attract more projects that invests more in people and in human capital, as opposed to the capital-intensive project that has been attracting most of the investments in the last 30 years.
The question looming over the gathering is whether international investors are ready to turn the page on Egypt's instability.
Let's stay on the topic of foreign direct investment now, but shift our focus to India. On Thursday, lawmakers approved opening up the country's insurance sector. The FDI limit will now be raised to 49% from the previous cap of 26%. The bill is seen as the first major economic reform act of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Okay, Delano, how are the markets looking this Friday? The Asian ones had opened pretty positively.
That's right. Well, now actually European shares have just begun trading. All the main indices opened higher this morning. Investors, though, will be keeping their eyes on a meeting in Brussels. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras is set to meet European Parliament President Martin Schulz and Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. Over in Asia, the Nikkei breached the 19,000 mark to reach a new 15-year high, up 1.4%. That positive sentiment trickled elsewhere on the continent. The Shanghai Composite was up around 0.5%, and the Hang Seng over in Hong Kong ended the day around 0.3%. Let's take a look at some of the other stories making headlines at this hour. Uber rival Lyft has secured $530 million in a fresh round of funding. The latest investments bring the company's value to around $2.5 billion. Lyft remains considerably smaller than Uber, valued at $41 billion. The company says it will use the new funding to expand in the United States and overseas. German lender Commerzbank has agreed to pay U.S. authorities $1.4 billion. The bank is being penalized on allegations it turned a blind eye to money laundering. It's also been accused of violating U.S. economic sanctions on Iran and Sudan. As part of the settlement, Commerzbank has agreed to fire employees involved in the wrongdoing. And a setback for Argentina in its debt fight with 2 U.S. hedge funds. A New York judge has prohibited Citibank from handling payments on Argentine bonds. Buenos Aires and Citibank said bonds issued under Argentine law and Citi's Argentina subsidiary did not fall under the court's ruling. District Judge Thomas Grizia rejected the argument, saying the country must pay off the hedge funds before its creditors.
And finally, Delano, you're going to end on that Disney story, Disney deciding not to let it go.
That's right. After a surprise smash in 2013 that roped in $1.3 billion in global ticket sales, Disney says it's working on a sequel to Frozen. The news of the 2 royal sisters making a return sent shares in the company up nearly 4% on Thursday. For now, there's no release date that's been given.
Some people are.
I haven't watched it, so I really can't
I have
comment on
actually.
it.
I have to say I loved Olaf the Snowman, but I did get a bit of overkill with that team tune, Let It Go.
And it's more than just the animated movie. It's also the sales of the toys and everything that comes with it. So
Big business.
Big business.
Delano, the there. Thanks indeed for that.